coming out, and we hope we have another one of these because that means we're heading to a bowl. But just wrapping up the Kent game, I thought it was a great football game. After I watched the tape, I think what I said after the game holds true. I mean, it was a great game. We're not happy with the result, but we got tremendous effort from our players, and it certainly was a tough one to lose. But hats off to Kent. They executed really well. Defensively, obviously, we didn't tackle a very good skilled player as well as we needed to, and I thought Kent's O-line played well too. So they created some little bigger space than we've been giving up lately, and we didn't tackle in space as well as we had. And the result is a bunch of big plays and 3 of them that led to touchdowns. And then offensively, we never got the running game going. Kent's good up front. They do a lot of different things. I don't think we handled it real well. Their players made plays, and we didn't stay on blocks and execute our base offense as well as we needed to. Certainly good to see our passing game get going a little bit, but obviously our failures in the red zone and the 2 turnovers were very costly, and I think ended up being the difference in the game. So again, that was a team. Kent's a very good football team, and we had to play our A game, and I don't think we played our A game. I don't think we played poorly, but we didn't play at the level and execute at the level you needed to win a championship game like that. So we need to move forward. We're excited about playing Buffalo down in Crew Stadium this Friday. When the season began, I really thought the 2 teams in our conference that could really surprise people were Kent and Buffalo. Buffalo had a lot of players back from a year ago, and I think if you look, Buffalo is a much better team than their record. I think if you look at their record, you can say they played an absolutely brutal schedule. I think they probably had the toughest schedule in the conference. Their 7 losses, 3 of them are to BCS schools, including Georgia. And then, they've lost to 4 of the best teams in the conference. Their 4 conference losses are to Ohio, Kent, Toledo, and Northern Illinois. So this is a very good football team. I certainly give their coaching staff a lot of credit. To start out a season, the way they did and lose 6 consecutive games, and then to find a way to win 3 straight is good coaching. I mean, to get your team to be 1-7, and to have them keep working and keep improving, and then win 3 games late in the year, I think speaks a lot of their coaching staff. I think it speaks a lot of their players. They kept working, they kept getting better, and they are a very good football team. Defensively, they're second in the conference statistically behind us. I think they broke a school record this year for sacks. They have a couple of guys up front that are absolute difference makers. Certainly Khalil Mack, Stephen Means, Colby Way. Those 3 players are 3 of the top 7 sack leaders in the conference. And then Mosley, the linebacker, can rush the passer too. Their defensive scheme is very difficult to prepare for in 1 week. They run a lot of what we call double eagle type stuff that kind of became popular in the 80s with Matty Wright in Chicago, but they're very aggressive in stopping the run. They've got really good personnel. They play hard. They can rush the passer extremely well. And this is going to be one of the best defenses that we've faced. And on the other side of the ball, I think their offensive line is really physical. They have a couple of really good tailbacks. Obviously if Brandon Oliver plays, he's a difference maker. He's as good as any tailback in the conference. But even Devin Campbell's a heck of a player. And we've got to be ready to go. This is a quality football team we're playing, and we still have a lot to play for. We'd love to get win number 8. I think that would only help, in our standing in terms of getting a bowl bid. And that's a major goal for our program every year is to get a bowl bid. So, to help our chances, we need to find a way to win this game. And again, it'll be a tough football game. It'll be a physical game. So, any questions?
Is this a road game? I mean, in a
sense, it really is a road game. Yeah, it's not a home game. Our home games are right here at Dwight Perry Stadium. So this is, we're handling it just like it's an away game.
And as far as going to Columbus and the alumni base, I know you're obviously playing football, it's not that, maybe not in that side of so much, but I guess there is kind of a positive to this whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this from the beginning of the year. I don't know if there's a football coach that ever wants to give up a home game, okay? But having said that, it certainly makes sense why we're doing this. If we played this game here on Friday, and this isn't just Bowling Green, this is anywhere in the MAC. When you play a home game the day after Thanksgiving and your students aren't there, you don't draw people. They don't come. You have a very small crowd. And, I think it's very proactive in our administration that we can just sit here and say, hey, we got the home game after Thanksgiving and we'll accept not having a crowd, or let's try to do something. Let's do something different. Let's try to do something to engage our university, to engage our alumni, to do something just a little bit different. And I think this is worth giving a shot to. And we'll see how we draw, but if we get 8,000 to 10,000 people there, that's probably 4 times more than we get here. Again, I don't consider it a home game, but in terms of football being the front porch of the university, really the most visible thing that we do. Rather than just do it in front of 2,000 people, let's take it to one of our top alumni areas, to one of our top recruiting areas, not just for athletes, but for students in general. And let's take football as a way to market the university. And so from that standpoint, I think we're excited to do that. The other thing we're excited about is we've got a lot of good players on our team from Columbus. And when I recruited them, we were scheduled to play Ohio State. So I was in their houses saying that you will play a game in Columbus. And our game against Ohio State last year got moved because they had a chance to play Colorado, and they basically gave us money. So we went and played West Virginia, and it gives our players from Columbus an opportunity to play in front of their friends and family. So I think whether it's Jude or Von McCoy or Rylan Ward or Alex Huddle or Alex Bear, there's a bunch of guys from Columbus that I think are very excited we're doing this. So I hope all of our season ticket holders will make the trip and support us because we certainly appreciate their support. And for some of them, it's more convenient that we're down there, and for some of them, it's not as convenient, but we hope they support the Falcons either way.
When you look at the team going down there, are guys like Jude and the other Columbus guys, are you gaining any juice from that?
Oh no, we getting some juice, Jude?
Yeah.
We're getting juice. So it's all in the Columbus guys. If we show up and go hard, I'll know that they did their job, and if they don't, then it's on them. So I think they're very excited about going down. I know Rylan Ward was down there a couple weeks ago, and a lot of the coaches in the area, and some of the players, because it is considered a home game, we're allowed to treat it with tickets like a home game. So a lot of our players, their high school teammates can go to the game that are still in high school. Their coaches can go. We can put them on a pass list. And, I think the coaches in that area appreciate the effort that we're so important, that their area is so important to us from a recruiting standpoint that we're actually bringing a game to them.
Are you seeing any of that in recruiting down the road?
What do you mean? Are we seeing?
Is there any reaction to potential recruits?
Oh yeah, we're going to have a bunch. We're going to have a bunch of recruits there. I can't speak on the specifics of who, but
right.
We will have as many recruits at that game as we do for a home game.
If this is a success, do you think it's something that could be repeated almost on a yearly basis?
Well, it'd be every other year, because I think in the MAC, every other year you have this game. That you're going to be on the road. I believe it works out like that. So I think it's one of those things that let's try it. And if it's successful, maybe we do it every other year. Maybe we look at doing it in Cincinnati or Cleveland. Maybe it's such a great event that we just do it in Columbus every other year. So I think this was one of those things of let's try it, let's see how it goes, and if it's successful, why not do it again?
I know the field dimensions are still the same, but you're gonna have any Hoosier-like moments where you're kind of making sure everyone knows that it's still the same stadium. It's just it's a soccer place.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's that part of it's minimal, because I was down there a couple weeks ago, and you take the soccer field and you shrink the dimensions of football field, and the stands are kind of set up the same way. I don't think that's going to be a factor at all. I mean, there's a lot of places that I think the double venue of a soccer football is a lot easier than a baseball football. When they're playing games in Wrigley Field, and I think we looked at going to the Jake a few years ago, and you know, this is a much easier transition than doing that game in Wrigley Field, that they always had to go one way. So I really, I think that's a non-factor.
How much do you keep an eye on all this realignment that's going on in college football right now?
It's very interesting. I mean, it's, you know, at some point you wonder if there's going to be a trickle-down effect, but I think we take pride in our conference that we've been the most stable conference in the country through all this.
When you hear, when you hear that there's going to be 5 major conferences that talk, is there a thought to want to be proactive and kind of go out there and become part of a major conference that will get an automatic BCS bid?
Yeah, but I mean, the reality of it is that I don't think any of those 5 view the MAC as where they're expanding to. You know, I mean, we're fairly stable, and I certainly trust our university's administration and the MAC administration that they're looking at what's best for the conference. But with all this realignment, I mean, we've kind of become a model of stability. And while all this realignment and conference changes are going on, what's happened to our conference competitively? I mean, we've jumped up. What were we ranked, the 4th best conference in the country a week ago or 2 weeks ago? So, I mean, I think our product is getting better and better, and maybe a little bit that is the stability and the recruiting stability and knowing who your opponents are. So, I mean, you know, I'm sure that anybody in our conference who had a chance to join the ACC or the Big Ten, I'm sure they'd jump at it. I haven't heard any of those offers come out, and if they did, I probably would be the last one to know. You would know that before me. I mean, as a coach, we really focus on what happens between the sidelines and the end zones. You know, those things are really above our head. Now, if you're ready to donate about $300, $400 million to help us make the move, we'll listen and we'd accept the check.
Check's in the mail.
Okay.
John,
You saying you'll take care of that, Jack?
John,
Jack, we appreciate the generosity.
John,
Not a fair point.
That's the easiest money to spend is other people's money now.
Going back to the Columbus game for a second, would your opinion of that game change if it were a different opponent, say a Miami or Ohio or somebody else who would be recruiting in that area or be more of a presence than, say, Buffalo is?
Honestly, I really didn't think about it. I mean, when the schedule came out, I knew we finished the year with Buffalo, and I didn't give it much thought. So, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We're just trying to win this game, John. I'm not trying to solve any issues in athletics with conference realignment or, you know, recruiting advantages with other, you know, we're trying to make a first down and get a red zone stop right now.
I feel like a heavy influence sometimes on bowl selections is sort of how you finish the season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's fair in terms of, like, let's say you lose 2 in a row to end the season? I mean, do you think that's fair in that?
Again, we've won 6 of our last 7. So I certainly, you know, certainly believe how you finish has a reflection on the caliber of a football team you are. So, you know, I think within the conference, you know, we're certainly playing as well as anybody right now except Kent or Northern in terms of how we're finishing, and we certainly hope that plays in the bowl selection. But again, those are things we don't control. You know, the bowl system is its unique entity, and you know, they pick teams for different reasons. It might be geographics, it might be how many people travel, how a team draws. I know that a couple years ago when we had Freddie and he was about to set a record, that certainly helped us. So there's a lot of things that go into that. And again, we think we're trying to win our 8th game. And we're trying to beat Buffalo and believe that if we do that, we become very attractive to a lot of bowls. But I don't run the bowls. You know, if I did, I'd have us in, you know, I'm sure we'd be in a BCS bowl.
No, you'd be in Hawaii, wouldn't you?
Huh?
You'd be in Hawaii or BCS?
We just want to be in a bowl, so I got to be careful what I say. We don't want to, you know, we'd be very excited about the opportunity to go to a bowl, and wherever that is, we'd be thrilled. How's that for being PC?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Would you, obviously, everybody understands the team's down and disappointed after Saturday's game. Have you seen a bounce back in the days since that?
Certainly Sunday bad, Monday a little better, today a lot better. I mean, this is college football. Every time you go out there and play, I mean, you put it on the line, and Alabama had to deal with it a week ago. Kansas State and Oregon's got to deal with it this week. We're no different. So you got two choices. You can wallow in self-pity and feel bad about yourself and have it affect your next performance, or you can get off your butt, prepare, get ready, and win the next game. And, that you live week to week doing this. So if we win Friday, which is going to be a challenge because of how well Buffalo's playing, it'll be a great, great feeling in that locker room. And if we don't win, we'll feel miserable. And that's the reality of what we do. You're here or you're here. There's nothing in between. And so for 6 weeks we were here. Last Saturday we were here. And we want to be here again. And the only way to do that is to focus on beating Buffalo. That's all we control. So, but that is something that I can talk to them blue in the face. Within our locker room, within our leadership, those guys are either thinking forward or they're looking behind. And if we look behind, we're going to get embarrassed. Because this is a good football team. It'd be very easy to say 4-7, but you look at who they lost to, and the teams they lost to, if you look at how close those scores were, whether it was Toledo or Ohio or Kent, they were going nose to nose with those people into the fourth quarter. Their really only bad conference loss was Northern. Everyone else, they had a chance to win that game in the fourth quarter. So a few bounces of the ball, and we could, this could be a 7-4 team, 8-3 team that's playing to go to a bowl and playing for the MAC championship. These guys have good players. So if we're not ready, we're going to get embarrassed.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.